There's some insinuation that one drives all about the building, and that's certainly not the case. The site is prepared on the backside only to the point of structural soil, and we're showing a disturbed area for the pad, not meant to be a driving lane, nor plowed and maintained, and et cetera, and so on. That's all pretty simple stuff that we would not normally deal with in this level of site plan review, and it's making some kind of a gross assumption which is untrue. So I think we just need, for clarification's sake, to stay on the tack of what's really going to happen.
Just so we're clear for the public, is there any requirement or need for a 360
No.
access to the building for,
You
say,
can do
fire?
Linda, you going to do
purposes or something?
drive-through clerking or anything? No, we're not going to do a drive-through here, right?
No,
No, okay, all right. No,
So the answer is the fire code would not require a 360 access to the building.
no, there's nothing about this building. This building, similar to a residential structure, and can be accessed in the same way. You already have access on 3 sides. You probably have it from Route 10 on the 4th side. That's easy enough to deal with.
I think we've touched on the first couple of points that were raised and addressed in Mr. MacGyver's memo here. Let's talk about the septic system for a second. Is there any problem with the depth to bedrock that is presented to the septic system that's proposed for this building?
No, this site is probably one of few in this area that has been tested and shown to be adequate to support a conventional system. I understand that that's not real typical, but you are fortunate in that way. So that's the sense that came across from your soil and water conservation folks, and they tested the site. The deep hole was clearly over 5 feet to refusal. And the soil test out at a 21-minute calculation, I believe. 21 minutes per inch, which is the same soil you buy if you have to go buy soil because you don't have the right kind. So that seemed rather fortuitous, and I have to trust it. It's done by a design professional of your choosing. It was provided to us directly. We spoke directly to that person. Miriam MacGyver, the civil engineer in our firm, designed that with careful consideration for those conditions, and we feel that it's adequate to support the office and assembly use, and has a reasonable area for expansion if necessary, for maintenance in the future. So you'll have availability for upgrading if you need to in the future, 20, 30 years from now.
And the person who did the perk test was not somebody, it was somebody, his name was Corey Nellis.
Yeah, Corey Nellis is it Montgomery County Soil and Water Conservation District, right? Yeah.
And we have the report here.
He performs that service on a regular basis for folks, and he's a
He does it for
professional.
any new homes in this area.
Correct.
Businesses, homes.
He's a professional in that way. And for the town was able to save you some money, again, by providing the municipality a service, which you had expected, and when we finally had the opportunity, we were able to follow through. So that I think is pretty simple. Mr. Novak, in essence, is correct. This would not support the use of a shelter, emergency shelter of 300 people. It's not intended to. I do appreciate, and I think we should include, and I feel a little bit dumb, if you will, for not including it, and that's a hitching post. I see it here when I come here, and it's not in my checklist to normally do, but it's perfectly correct.
Well, I kind of taken care of that. I talked to Eli. He is the bishop for the Amish in the area. He lives up on Dillenbeck Road. he will be glad to donate a hitching post, for their horses. So that situation, I guess, has been taken care of. Because after Mr. Novak and other people brought it to our attention, we thought we should really have one there, definitely.
I would say that, when we first purchased this building years ago, there was no hitching post for a very long time. And there also was not a hitching post when the county clerk's office was at my home. They hitched their horses to my garage door.
Well, one would imagine that it's appropriate in this case to provide a hitching post and a place for a buggy or two at any given time, and I think I think that's something. I think there's enough flexibility allowed in this plan to be able to situate that according to their selection, while the project is maturing. I think that would be an excellent suggestion.
Which certainly is not done because we don't appreciate our Amish neighbors, because absolutely we do.
No, it's because you have an architect who doesn't know any Amish people. And I should. We
That's
have,
our fault too.
yeah, I know where I am. I know where I'm building this, and I apologize.
I can smell your way.
What did he say?
Something about the way I smell, I guess.
I think you probably can smell your way.
Oh yeah, smell. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mr. Novak also brought up the possible need for a water trough. Is that something that we should address as well?
Did you speak with Eli about? I mean, the length of time they're here and the duration of the.
I did not say anything to him about that.
Yeah.
But
And
maybe we could even put something up there outside the garage even,
Well, there are a few native trees, and if you needed to.
Fresh,
There are no water troughs in the villages.
there is no water troughs in the village or any
Even the
other
new
place in
storage
this area
tanks
for
and
Amish
stuff.
horses. And if you don't keep the water fresh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be drawing mosquitoes and then you're standing the chance of, a lot of.
You're better off keeping a bucket of oats in the back room or something. I don't know.
If they want water,
I
I
don't know.
I think the Amish do carry buckets with them to water their horses when needed.
I feel somewhat shy to admit that I don't, work with horses.
Perhaps this would be a good time to just see if there's anybody out in the audience who is Amish or has talked to the Amish about where on the site they would like the hitching post to be located. If they have any information on that or would like to speak at this time, we would certainly take that information to include on the site plan map. Is there anybody out there who has any information on that subject?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Actually, Sandra, I too spoke to Eli Kurtz. We had a long discussion about this site plan. And yes, they would like, if they have to donate a hitching post, although they pay tens of thousands in taxes, I think we can afford one. But sometimes, if they want to come to a meeting, they need accommodations for up to at least half a dozen horses, and they put the buggies in a separate spot. So we need to have accommodation for that. Also, they asked if we could plant a few trees because when it's 80 degrees out, it's hot.
We
Now,
need shade.
there's not one bit of landscaping specified in here. Is that something that we're not doing?
Well, let's raise that. That's a good question, Chris, and we'll ask our architects.
I have several others, by the way,
No,
you
that's
did
fine.
not address them.
I understand. What about the issue of tree plantings on the site?
Well, once again, Bob, I think, we made this clear at the beginning that these items, design items or landscape items or concrete sidewalks even, are at the discretion of the town at the time that they are prepared to do so. So we can augment the information.
Never wrong. Oh. I can't talk to you now, I'm in a major meeting.
Well, this is important, and I want you to
Okay.
drop what you're doing and come home right now.
That is never wrong. Damn life.
We love you, Skip.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So there would be nothing to prevent the town after the building is
No,
put up to locate a few trees.
Certainly with an eye towards site enhancements.
Yeah.
You can spend as much as you have. We showed the minimum standard to get you built, and we're only showing the things that you need to buy from from a contractor, not the things that you're going to do yourself.
Once again, this site plan was developed, it was not intended to be a bidding document. It was for the town's use and the town's forces. This was not a bidding document. The town is building this thing, it was never even considered to send this thing out as a bidding document.
Right.
And we have put the minimum in there as a cost-saving measure and to give the town the most flexibility. Okay, so please keep that in mind.
Sheet one here was in specific response to the requests of the county planning board. And that's what created the enhancement there to show them what they had asked to see. And that's why we took it to that extent. Certainly, for tens of thousands of dollars, you can get a landscape plan and a real landscaper to come over here and plant real trees. That's not our intent here in the scope of work that we're providing.
Unfortunately, the ones in the village don't normally supply shades, but it would be nice if we could do it here some point in the world.
Yeah. I appreciate all that.
If the Amish or somebody else does not wanna pay for that hitching post, I will.
We have one out here.
Up there, I'm talking about.
I know, but we have one out here. If we
I know.
move, we could take this one. There's no reason we couldn't.
Well, if that one isn't satisfactory, I can afford a better one if you want.
You always have more than one.
One of the issues that came up, discussing the other night too, was snow abatement. And,
You gonna do away with snow?
no, we're not gonna do away with it, but,
Wow.
are there any, does the site plan address the need for any kind of snow fencing or, planting rapidly growing trees that might help with that, or, we do, it is, obviously, an wide open area up there that will be subject to some wind.
From what I understand, the way the wind blows up there, the snow will go right on by.
Yeah.
Okay, if you try to stop it, if you put up a windbreak, you'll store it all on your site. Maybe you ought to live there for a year before you decide just how to do that. I don't know, I really don't know, but I think it's not a part of what you're doing right now.
No.
That's what I know.
When the old town hall was up there on the corner where Redon's store is now,
Yeah, I think, snow fences have specific intent. I do, back to fences, thanks, Bob, because regardless of the fact that this is less than an acre disturbance, it would still be commensurate for you to protect the drainage area towards the downhill slope towards the ditch with a silt fence properly installed, maintained during the course of the project. That's simple common sense in a way, but it's also a way of following the law, even though it's not superimposed on you by a second authority. It is a recommended standard. We don't show it here because, again, it's by the town. It's not something you're going to contract out. So, and it wasn't mentioned by the town, but it certainly is something that should be a part of the management of the site during the placement of the fill and then during the time that it is left unrecovered.
And these things are standard practice.
Standard practice.
Everybody does them.
And we've talked about this with Art, and he knows.
Kind of like saying it's time.
Right.
And all this is in the nature of erosion abatement, basically, right? You're trying to
Erosion
keep it
control.
Control. That's a better
There's
word.
no abatement here unless we're trying to get rid of asbestos. And as far as I know, we're not doing that on
Erosion
this site.
control.
Unlike this site, that has no natural predators. So what we're trying to do is very simple, and keeping it simple so that it doesn't become extraordinarily expensive.
One more thing about snow removal. You have a DPW garage up there that has the resources and the manpower. If you can't plow a driveway next door with town equipment.
But at any rate, I mean, it's important to have a plan in place, obviously, he's gonna plow this a certain way, and it's gonna be cleared off and ready for business. the morning after, you know? Pretty easy.
Is that, did we address the questions on here, all of them, or not?
I think you have
Water
more
capacity.
Oh, yeah, your well capacity,
You're welcome, guys.
right. So, I mean, there's some knowledge about the well, it's 250 feet deep, its yield is a half a gallon a minute. Your demand qualified by the septic system calculations is 365 gallons a day. That's quite similar to a three-bedroom house in close
And
proximity
if I
to.
may add that is for full occupancy of both the assembly and the office spaces.
Right.
That's what that was designed as.
So when you calculate that out in simple math, it's there is let's see, 1,440 gallons per day produced by the well, and there's storage in the well. I think we wrote it down here. Comments. What was the storage in the well?
165 gallons.
Oh,
365.
right, excuse me. Storage capacity of the casing, 365 gallons, and the yield to support that is 1,440 gallons per day.
And I've already done I've already asked, I know the usage for the town hall. The most usage for the town hall is in the winter time when we have to leave the water running to keep it from freezing. And it's 120 gallons a week.
Yeah, these are maximum calculations for with a factor of safety worked in that we're using, which are part of the thing. The practical
And
uses.
we're required to design it for full build out, so
Right.
that's what it is.
And
Way over.
I've been told that there's 80 gallons in the pipe, ready, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's other residual, but your storage in the casing alone would satisfy your direct need, and then it's supported adequately to have adequate recovery. Unlike a house, you know, you're not dumping washing machines and crazy amounts of surge loads, showers and things, right? That's part of what helps you, kind of pan out your use, even out your use.
Without the credit for low flow fixtures, each employee in that building is 22 gallons.
Okay.
So, go figure.
You're allowed to flush somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 times once in a while. So, I mean, I think we're certainly, we're not going to run a village off of it. You know, it's not a municipal source for distribution into a number of different sites. This has got to be for you alone, and this is sole purpose here. And I think it will support that adequately.
Any more questions?
We really weren't gonna open up to the public, but since Mr. Novak did have some pertinent questions, I guess, last time, if you have a couple more, Chris.
Yeah, I sure do,
If
because
you
some
need
got
time
missed,
to do
and
that.
I am in no way saying that I am doubting Mr. Barton's veracity, his figures, okay? I'm going by what we thought would be the intended use of this building. So basically what we're doing is we're spending $475 on an administrative building. We could probably get 2 double wides for that. But, Mr. Barton, even though there's a sleeve across the driveway area that we're not sure of, they're supposed to be there, and we don't know how adequate or how protected it is.
Yes, we do.
It's
Yes, we do. You don't, but I do.
okay.
Okay, so.
Well, fine. I haven't dug it up. I'm from
That's all right.
Missouri. I
We-
like showing.
we-
It's at least 50 feet from the well casing to the driveway, and at least 60 feet from the driveway to the beginning of your perforated line. How in the world are we not going to break an additional 250 square feet and break our 40,000 square foot disturbance area?
40,000?
If we add 250 square feet more to disturbance, we have broken the 40,000 square foot plane.
I would love to address your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have a site plan there?
I sure do.
Can you show me, can you put your finger on the well?
The well is outside
Right
here.
there.
Yep.
Okay, now between the well and that area of disturbance that is marked out, you have a corner there, right? See the corner?
Yeah, it's not a straight line because the sleeve is not in a straight line. It's where the culvert was placed.
How do you know that? We have already installed those.
Artie installed a straight line with a pitless adapter 8 feet down. I've been through that site. I've even shot grades on that site with an excavating
I
contractor.
do not understand how you come up with 10 by 50. I mean, what are you putting the excavator in the?
Sir.
Wait, hang on.
Sir, you've left no room for error here.
What's
In addition,
what's
you-
the area of an acre?
40,000, a building acre is approximately 40,000 square feet.
No, what's the area of an acre? 43,560 or
Right.
something, isn't it right? 43,000?
Mm-hmm. 42
Okay.
and change. Yeah, 42, 43. Yeah.
43,560.
Thank you.
Right, I thought that number rang a bell. Thank you. So 43, and we're at 37.5.
Mm-hmm.
There's approximately 6,000 square feet difference, right? So we have all of whatever you're talking about, these incidental trenching that might have to occur outside of that. We have 6,000 square feet to manage without any.
Why don't we?
It's my understanding that the setback is 75 feet from the center line of the road that would be along the Route 10 corridor, and we're at 85 feet.
Okay.
Okay, so we do comply with that. The others, the rear yard is 150.
150. Yeah, plenty in the back. I
And the
know.
front yard is,
Okay. One last question. If you were building a municipal hall for our town,
Mhm.
would this be the plan you would build, or would you make enhancements?
oh, I would be overjoyed to get this building in my town. All right, this is a wonderful, this is a very good building. It's going to withstand your wind loads. It's going to withstand all of the contemporary energy requirements for years to come, decades to come. It's over-designed from a standpoint of energy efficiency. We're able to do that without adding cost. And so we're working in that regard to make the best possible envelope and working space that suited the town to the greatest extent necessary, including what Judge Dygert needs and what the town board needs on a regular basis, and all the other accessory components that are represented. So, you know, the supervisor's office, a small break room, a assessor's office, a town clerk's office, a judge's chamber, and a jury box, a jury room. As well as, of course, record storage and the place of assembly for up to 50 people. So those things are part of what makes this project possible. If you try to do more than that, you certainly will overreach your capabilities. And we try to point that out. We're trying not to be like, and this is not a city, I wouldn't do this in Colony by any means. I would do it in my house, in my town. I would do this project in any rural community and be proud of it. So that's what we're bringing to the table. We're not trying to make it perfect in every way. We're trying to make it affordable and reasonably accommodating. So we have a good chance of surviving, being built to begin with, and then surviving, but then can support enhancements, you know, whether they be landscape or paving or, you know, as they become affordable and necessary over time. There's an opportunity to continue to nurture this project as it needs to be nurtured to serve the needs of the public. I think it's good for that. I mean, I give it 100 years. You know, as long after I'm done. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to present that.
I came to this town 68 years ago, and I've always lived on Route 10. Now, at that time, for 2 years, the town